This is the one. Oh, I think so.
I allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. Okay, let's begin this evening's agenda. And we'll kick off with agenda item number B, Deputy Shaw. How are you this evening?
I am good.
Good.
Hope
glad to
this
hear.
finds everybody good health and happy.
Yes, glad to hear. Got some
Um,
good news for us today?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so, all right.
Yeah, no, it's good news, for the most part. There's only a few things that are of concern for me.
Okay,
So we'll just start out with no, calls for service. There was one call that we had, there was like 3 calls in one. The guy just got calling, and it was a civil call that spanned like 4 or 5 days. And then a mentally disturbed person, that individual was taken to the hospital. This is the key one, the 1051, so the Walter Grande. That I've been hounding everybody about this specific thing, about making a harder target. In this specific instance, there was a skid steer that was stolen, so it's a $100,000 tractor. That was stolen, so this was on a trailer behind a gate locked to the trailer. And they drove it away. So the key with these, most of these tractors, is if you have a key for one, you have a key for all. So you can just drive off, if you have a key to that series of tractor, you can drive off with another tractor. All you need is that key that you have. Those particular items are very hard to recover for us. Because typically they'll go to a farm and they'll never leave that farm again. And we will never find it. They're very difficult to find once they're stolen. Not only that, but they often go to Mexico. So they'll steal that tractor, go down to Mexico, paint it, do a bunch of weird stuff to it, and then bring it back across and resell it at a discounted price. So tractors are they're a high commodity. Unknown trouble. This one's more funny than anything else. We went out to a call where construction workers were saying they heard somebody yelling for help and get off me and this and that. So we're going out there and I'm going to all these houses and I'm calling and looking, and one of the houses we went to, he finally flagged me down as I was leaving, and he's like, "I figured it out. It's my parrot." The parrot is screaming. I'm like, "Oh, okay, fantastic. I'm glad I come out there for that." But at least it wasn't anything serious.
Did you put cuffs on the parrot?
No, he was a foul mouth. Get bird.
Okay. It's lighthearted.
Then we had to check the welfare on Sandia Creek in Carancho. This was slightly concerning. It said that there was an individual called on behalf of another individual saying that their son was threatening to harm them, and so we take it all for real. So we go out there, but that's not the case, and that employee was misinformed or left under the other than amicable reasons. And then Viva Carroll, there was a burglary where they broke into a barn and stole hand tools, chainsaws, things of that nature. So again, it's starting to get warmer. The warmer it gets, the more activity we see, usually criminally. And that's just how it goes. And then the last one was another mentally disabled person that was taken to the hospital. Developments provided a report to the Duluth Women's Club. We responded to 8 more locations with code enforcement on various reasons that people are out of compliance with the county for their building and any other compliance of moving earth. One out of the ordinary one is a guy off of Duluth Road. He said it's a fire break, but the county ordinance is you can move 200 cubic yards of dirt. And after that becomes, you have to get a permit. That's quite a bit of dirt. This is cubic tons. This guy, he made a road and to nowhere. I don't know what he's doing. It's weird. So we went out there and dealt with that. There's a whole bunch of other problems there. And still waiting for CAL FIRE to figure out the signage for the evacuations. I think I'm just gonna circumvent them and go through our side to the emergency services, and we'll go that route. CAL FIRE's historically just they don't move fast. Nothing with fire, then they move real fast. But anything else, they're just like, well, let's look at this in this angle. So, but we'll go another one. See what we do that way.
Questions, anyone?
Last month, I think you said something about changing your hours because of the speeders up here.
Well, the speeders and kind of watching the avocado market as it goes up.
Yeah.
And there are still some people that are holding out on that market and their fruit is on their tree still. That's more likely that that's gonna occur at night, when nobody's around. And then just not the speeders, yeah, but just in general. Things happen more at night, especially in summer when there's 1 to 1.
Right.
People running up. But yeah, I've already started doing that. We changed hours.
Ready, wanted just to note, thank you very much. Both you and Jim participated in the Duluth Women's Club meeting on June the 5th. We had both had a nice sized crowd. And so, and I saw that after the fact, everybody came up and had their questions for you. So, well done. You did a really good
Thank you
job.
very much.
Thank you.
Yes.
Not a problem.
Appreciate both of your participation in the meeting. Okay, thank you.
Another way? Go.
Okay,
Over here.
all righty, Isabel, any visitors today? Okay, all righty, and then we're gonna slide into agenda D, legislative topics is our. There he is. Long time.
Good evening.
How are you this evening?
Doing very good. Good to see you all again. So this is going to be brief. This is more of an activity report than it is an update. Legislatively, we're rolling into the final agreements on the budget. So everything else is kind of on pause right now while the powers that be work out the high level stuff. And there's maybe 20 people who can tell you what's really going on in the budget right now. Sadly, I'm not one of them. But that's how it goes. It's going to be about 2 more weeks. So the kind of what's happened with the state is that our economy is improving, but it didn't improve early enough to affect the tax receipts that came in, in the earlier part of the year in April. So they're still having to craft a budget that deals with a large deficit, but they are talking about things like putting bonds on the ballot with an eye towards the fact that the economy is improving and the bonding capacity of the state may go up. So that's all underway right now in the legislature, and it's kind of tying up everybody's time. So turning then quickly to Duluth and the matters I'm working on for you, we have 2 things going on. And first is to talk about the event for Senator Kelly Ciarto. So there's a bit of a backstory here, is a bit of a what happened. I use a scheduler from the firm that I'm associated with and I rent space from. And I do it because she's very well known and she gets results. But working through her, there was a ever so slight miscommunication with the senator's office. And the words that were used were correct, but the impression that was left in the senator's office was that we were inviting him to just a pre-existing town hall and it would be nice if he could make it. So that's kind of the way the message was received. Once I finally got together with the chief of staff, got clear on what we were thinking and how this was an event that was going to feature the senator. First, she apologized, said that was not her understanding. Extremely grateful, has been extremely proactive. I was kind of hoping I would hear back from her. I forwarded her on the dates that were work for Duluth. I forwarded those on yesterday. I was kind of hoping I would hear back before the call. Not unusual at this time of year that I didn't, but just to kind of communicate, the Senator Sardo's office is now on board, enthusiastic, really excited to work with you, and I'm confident this is going to happen. So that's one. Second thing is on gas tax. We had a meeting this afternoon. I specifically wanted to meet with Ryan Barron at BBK because he has, municipal experience in this exact area that we're interested in. Ward and I met with him. My job, I wanted to pick his brain and have him play devil's advocate and see if there's any holes in our approach, anything that we're trying to do. And again, we are trying to use Senator Sayarto as the entree to county staff to get a better response than we've gotten in the past. So we talked through all the scenarios and contingencies, and yeah, Ryan, he couldn't poke any holes in it. He also would not make a prediction as to how we're going to do, but we have mapped out an approach. We have the goodwill of Senator Sayard, who's willing to help. We just now have to decide what is the best way to use him. Do we take him? One possibility is we arrange a meeting with the senator and county staff instead of going to one of the supervisors and really put their resources towards the staff that has been an obstacle in the past. So our plans are ready. It's just a matter of timing as to when we're ready to pull the trigger and go forward. And that, it's really kind of up to our internal processes when that happens. So those are the two things I have working on right now. Again, it's just my activity that I've been working on it because I don't have anything to tell you is like, okay, here's what's been agreed to, or here are the dates. So that's where I am right now. Are there any questions that I can answer?
Question, board members? No, I think that should cover it. Okay, very good. We appreciate the update.
Always a pleasure to be here. I look forward to the next time.
Okay, thank you. Good evening.
Thank you.
Okay, very good. Okay, agenda item E, information only. The following items are intended for information purposes only, and they include the financial statements and statement of investment policy. Directors, any comments or questions?
No.
Okay, then we will move on. Item F, which is the consent calendar. 1, minutes of the May 22nd, 2024 regular board meeting. 2, the general fund claims for May 2024. 3, the sheriff's special tax claims for May 2024. Last is the purchase orders, and there were none. Any questions, directors?
No.
None? Okay, motion to approve. Second?
I'll second.
All in favor, Bowman.
Aye.
Carol.
Aye.
Rawson.
Aye.
Roberts, aye. Unanimously approved. Thank you, everyone. Now we're gonna get in some details here. Okay, and agenda item G, this is public hearing, benefit assessment and special sheriff's tax for fiscal year 2024 through 2025. This is a second reading and in consideration of ordinance 24-01, adopting the special sheriff's special tax rate and written report for fiscal year again, 2024-2025. Jim?
President and members of the board, you gave notice at the prior meeting last month that now would be the time for a public hearing for the benefit assessments to support the roads and the sheriff tax, which supports our law enforcement efforts. So we've given notice. We've provided the data, published it in a newspaper. So now would be the time to open the public hearing and hear any comments of the public. And once that's complete, close the hearing, and then I'll give you the motion for adoption of the ordinance.
Okay. Motion to approve.
I know at this point, I
Oh, sorry.
threw you a curveball here.
You did.
Now you need to, I'm sorry, I forgot. We need to officially say the public hearing is open. Is there any comments so that it's on the record?
Alrighty. That's okay. Okay, this is an opportunity for any public member to speak on behalf of the subject matter? Okay. There's nothing at this time, okay?
And then that would be an appropriate time to close the public hearing.
Okay, then it is an appropriate time to close the public hearing.
And so the appropriate motion would be to introduce ordinance 2401 by title only, with
Mhm.
further reading waived. And that ordinance number 2401 be adopted.
Okay, so moved. Okay, thank you. You're too sick for me.
I'll second.
All right, we appreciate that. Okay, all in favor, Bowman.
Aye.
Carol.
Aye.
Rawson.
Aye.
Roberts. Aye, unanimously approved. Okay, agenda H, public hearing, annual budget for fiscal year 2024-2025. Public hearing and consideration of resolution 24-05. Again, adopting the annual budget for the fiscal year 2024-2025. Jen?
And this is your second public hearing this evening. Notice of this hearing has also been provided in your prior meeting. So the public is aware that the proposed budget will be considered by this board, eventually adopted. The budget is for the funds that you just enacted under the prior ordinance, so that is complete. Now it's time to adopt the budget which allocates the use of those funds during the next fiscal year. The budget was presented at the prior meeting. It's been available here at our offices for public review. So at this point, it would be appropriate to open the public hearing and ask for any public comments on the budget. And then we'll go to the next step in just a moment.
All righty. Okay, Isabella, at this time, do we have any public comments? None at this time? Okay, thank you.
So it would be appropriate to close the public hearing
Okay.
and to introduce resolution 2405 by title only. The further reading be waived and that resolution number 2405 be adopted.
Okay, let's see, since there are no public comments at this time, we will close out that aspect of the hearing here. And, we will move forward with, waiving of the reading. Is that correct, Jim? Okay, and, again, this is a public hearing consideration resolution number 24-05, adopting the annual budget for the fiscal year 2024-2025. Motion? Second?
Second.
Thank you.
Jesus, looks bad.
Thank you. We'll let them do the next one.
That's okay.
All righty, very good. Okay, all in favor, Bowman.
Aye.
Carol.
Aye.
Rawson. Humbert's aye. Thank you, unanimously approved.
I have a question. If we have a question on something on the budget, do we ask about that later? Like, how does that, since I've never done it?
You voted, so, but I think we can. Sure.
No, I don't wanna not vote. It's good. I'm happy. I just wanna know what it is.
Yes, you can still go and ask a question.
Okay, I'm just curious, our IT maintenance. IT maintenance,
Yeah,
it's up there. I was just wondering why.
yeah.
We have Triune Info Systems. They maintain all of our scanners, copiers, PCs. Time there's a problem, they're like right here to do it. They're also on hotline 24/7. They also manage all our security, all the interfaces and all our software. So they do everything on the technology that runs us.
And they, the one that she didn't mention is they also house our data. So in that, and if you walk through that door over there and you look to the left and near the ceiling is a big box. what happens is anytime any of us touch our keyboards or whatever, it goes into that box, it's recorded. And then it's shipped to like Denver and Chicago or something like that.
Yeah, they go simultaneously, they, so, yeah.
And then that data is housed, all right? So, if we had a meltdown here, they would then, it would come over the reverse through that box and put it back on the machines. And then that machine is also recording. So if they melt down, nuclear attack or something, okay, in Denver, we could, in theory, I think it's more on discs in that box.
Yeah, hard drives.
Hard drives, yeah. In theory, we could restore it ourselves.
And it's in real time too, so. So they do a lot. I mean, I know it's a lot of money, but they also do a lot for it, protect us and stuff, so.
But this is about 4 years ago, was it, that?
Yeah.
We upgraded everything and brought it into real time or current time. And, we wanted to basically contract out the whole
Okay.
And, so their proposals kept getting bigger and bigger as we said, well, what about this? What about this? And so we basically just built a package, and I think, wasn't it for 7 years or something?
I think it's 8, but I'm
8.
not sure.
So we're about halfway through. And probably in a few years, we'll begin thinking about
Getting bids again, yeah,
whether we wanna,
yeah.
where we wanna go for the next period. So,
They take every care of it, the monitor, all the displays and in your office. And all that too.
So,
You know, the hardware technology aspects of it, yeah.
But that's not to say that Jessica, she makes it all run internally here. She
No,
does
I-
it. Yeah.
you guys said to read it over, so I did.
So then, yeah, then the linkage is Jessica, because if we had, one of the options was we could have done it ourselves. But I'd probably have 3 IT people, you know,
Yeah.
so her job is to basically get the most out of that contractor, you know, beat them with a whip.
Yeah.
And we do get really good service, I think.
I think,
I mean, he does all that, yeah, that's a lot. That's
Yeah,
good.
and it is pretty typical in terms of this size of an organization. because, I mean, even a defense company that I worked for, even though it was a part of a bigger one, we still had separate IT
yeah.
technology.
Especially
in the
since
same
we
way.
don't have anybody in-house that's.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Professional like that, so.
Now, this covers the GIS system, it's all saved and on the cloud and
Everything.
everything.
Yeah.
That's just my question.
Alrighty, anything else? Anybody else?
No,
Okay.
that's wonderful.
Okay, very good. Alrighty, let's see, we're going into agenda item I. Managing CalPERS unfunded accrued liability. Consider resolution number 24-06, authorizing additional annual CalPERS unfunded accrued liability payments. Jim?
Yes, this, the items that you're going through presently in this agenda are the same year after year after year. This is a new addition though. And, I think perhaps since I'm the author of this beautiful resolution, I think maybe I'll summarize it. And it's really all the decision that you're making for the very first time. But this action we're going to take, which is set forth in this resolution, will potentially be ongoing. So this item will be added now to your June meeting until the unfunded liability is paid off or until you, the board, decide. That's it. We don't want to pay that anymore. We can't afford it or, you know, whatever. So anyway, just to provide background, we joined the Public Employees Retirement System in 1988, which means that the employees at that time converted off of Social Security and onto CalPERS. And those costs have always remained relatively close, like within 0.5% of wages, okay? And the reason CalPERS built itself, and that was still in the building time of CalPERS. They've been so successful in capturing agencies like ours is because the price being about the same to the employee and to the employer, but CalPERS has a much better reward, employee return. So your board or your district board at that time made that decision, and they probably spent quite a bit of time, because I've done a couple of these, ancient history, my gray hair. They probably spent a couple of years just, looking at the pros and cons, trying to understand what they were getting themselves into. At that time, there was something that they didn't anticipate getting themselves into. Basically, everything has worked just fine since that time. Except CalPERS kind of lost their way a little bit sometime between the millennium and 2012. And what I read in the paper, they were playing a lot of politics with the investment earnings. They forgot that they were there to fund the retirements, and instead they're down in Africa and other places in the world being a big shot, and those returns to, buy a big building and invest in it in Zimbabwe or something like that. That's what happened. Okay. So they threw the board out basically, in the top administration, and the legislature and governor had to step in because the word on this in the media and the press was that CalPERS was going wrong. So they basically spent a couple of years retooling it, the legislature and the governor, not CalPERS, changing around the way they did business. And that's where they use the term PEPRA, which you're gonna see at the end of this resolution. They basically said, everybody who has a retirement with us as of 2013 will honor everything. Okay. But we've had to crank down some of the benefit levels. So anybody hired after 2013, you get PEPRA, which is a little less rich. Okay. So basically everybody was protected. The board stopped fooling around, with the investments, and go back to business, running it as a business where you're there to get the highest return you can get. So anyway, what happened though is there was a shortfall had to be dealt with. So they had to get really with CalPERS' bankrupt stuff. So what they did is they took the deficit among all the agencies, us being one, and made us a loan. Because that became part of their investment portfolio. They lent money to their own customers, right? So instead of it being a liability on the balance sheet, it became an asset. All these loans. So we got assigned our number. And that fluctuates because every year they do an actuarial evaluation, but today that number is 1.4 million, give or take. Okay. Some like cities in particular, their number is astronomical. And it's politically an issue like election time in a lot of those cities. That what do you mean, us, the taxpayers, have an unfunded liability? Okay. But they're so big that trying to get their arms around it is very difficult. We have been your board staff for 5 years probably. It was an issue when I interviewed for this job. The board asked me, so what do you think we should do about this? So over this time, we've been working with the CalPERS staff people. Teresa and I go once a year to a conference, CalPERS conference. And while you're doing classes about how the system works and all that stuff, there's another section of the building and it's cubicles. And you can make appointments with all the people who work in Sacramento for CalPERS. And it's kind of like going to your CPA, at tax time. So Teresa and I, we make those meetings and we meet with the actuaries. And it's all arranged in advance so that they can do all their figuring in order to meet with us. So we've done this now, about 4 years? And they have come up with a plan for us based on a projected 10 years of paying down that $1.4 million. And how much do we pay, if number escapes me, in interest? It's about 8% on 1.4 million.
7.75.
Okay, okay. But how much is that per year cash
It
that
was-
we're paying?
Well, the bottom line was the whole thing is if we do this, we're gonna save $500,000 in interest over the 10 years. Instead of paying it monthly like we do or annually, just.
And how much is that monthly payment? I see it on the.
That is well, we pay 100,000 a year
Okay,
just for the UAL, 100,000. And yeah, because the other part is just current, it's for current, which is about 4,000 a month.
4,000 a month plus 100,000 a
Yes.
year.
Yeah.
So that's 150,000.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right on the nose.
So if we begin paying this down, and you flip back to what you just passed, which is your annual budget, in 10 years, you'll have an extra $150,000 to spend in Duluth, and this thing's gone. Okay. So, but even Pepra, which is why you gotta really keep an eye on calipers. Pepra's been around since 13. Well, just with the Pepra employees, the new employees we have, we've already approved $40,000 unfunded liability again. We're kind of right back. That's why we need to get out of this mess, okay? And then we ride herd on them year after year after year. And if they actuarially say, okay, you were $4,000 short or $6,000, we write a check and we move on instead of keep adding to this loan balance. Okay, so anyway, I've told you that for the classic members, all the retirees and the people who've been here prior to 13,
Right.
it's 1.4 million approximately. And Pepper for the Pepper people is 37.5. We're gonna pay with this resolution, we pay the 37.5 Pepper, we write a check. Done. Okay, that's. And then we're going to proposing in this resolution that we would pay $100,000 against our classic UAL. Because what they have their actuarial analysis. If we pay 100,000, about the 6th or 7th year, that 100,000 pays off much faster. And so that's where the savings starts coming. Am I saying this right?
You got it, Tim.
This is sure. So anyway, I thought, and I guess the finance committee has suggested, let's get this down in writing in as simple a form as possible, because none of us are probably gonna be here when this pays off. And somebody at some meeting like this is gonna say, what the heck is this? What were they doing? Why were they doing it? And so from here on, we'll put something like this on your June, and that will basically be the authority for us to write a check to Calhoun as soon as the budget becomes operational on July 1st of each year. So anyway, at this point in time, were there any other
I
questions?
was gonna
about
say,
this?
questions, Gina?
No, we've gone through this to some degree before. and I think
I just wanted to ask one.
Yeah, she has one
Just
question.
one question, because I'm not, so this is something that the former board put us into, that we're basically trying to get out of, kind of like the way back. not the former, you know,
Yeah, well, the real culprit is CalPERS.
as Calvert.
They went a decade blowing money all over the world. On
So I guess,
silly investments.
so can you just go back to the regular social security once this is done
No.
or?
I don't think so.
No, okay, that's what's my.
That's an option. And, to do that costs,
I was gonna
I
say.
think we would have to pay up like $3 million.
Oh.
We got retirees out there.
Yes.
Okay, so we would have to make those retirements full.
So you're stuck, we're stuck either
We're
way.
stuck.
Yeah.
But
I just wanna understand.
I don't think we can assess, you know, blame or whatever.
No, I just.
Prior boards here,
Uh,
prior CalPERS boards,
yeah.
yes.
Mhm.
And they did some really bad things. And just to toss this out, we're starting to see it again. Just recently, there's apparently some new board members that are, we need to keep a close eye on it because we're starting to get emails about it.
Mhm.
The things that, well, like they're taking on, who's the Tesla guy?
Elon Musk.
Must.
Yeah, so they, you know, CalPERS owns a lot of their stock. So they're trying to get him kicked out of his board, you know,
Yeah.
silly stuff. I mean, not silly,
Well,
political.
yeah, right.
So,
That was my next question, how to make sure it doesn't happen again.
Yeah.
Right.
I think there's enough people left from that era that got burned. That hopefully, I get these emails every day, you know, that hopefully we start seeing people stepping up saying, we've already been down that road. Was there? But, anyway, so,
Got it.
okay, so the appropriate motion would be to introduce resolution 2406 by title only, that further reading be waived, and that resolution 2406 be adopted.
Make a motion to adopt resolution 24-06.
I said.
Oh, thank you, Gina.
Chuck a break.
Give a break. Okay, all in favor, Bowman,
Aye.
Carol,
Aye.
Rawson, Roberts, unanimously approved. Interesting. That's very interesting. Yeah,
Mhm.
and,
Yeah.
and that'd be a hard thing to change back. You know, it really
No,
would. It's
just-
a lot involved, yeah. Yeah, I know.
Times.
I know, lessons learned. Yeah, lessons learned. Okay, any other comments or anything? Oh, anything?
Well, it's kind of with the reporting with the finance committee. But I wanted to point out also that with our investments in T-bills, the amount of interest we are making ranges from, I think, 5.06 to, what is it, 5.
2.5.
Yes, something like that.
Yeah.
That money, if as long as we keep the investment going, the T-bills are coming due at different times throughout the year, so we can continually replace them, or if we have to use one of them, they're all 500,000, but that would cover the $100,000 that's in the budget for the unfunded liability, so it all will balance out.
That's a very good point, and that's why it's on the agenda at this point in time,
Mhm.
because we didn't have a funding source, we would have
Right.
had to reduce something else like road work or whatever.
Right,
To pay this down, and the boards didn't
Right.
see an interest in that.
that's
But
right.
then, but we were only getting like 1%
Mhm.
on our, or less than
Yes.
0.5%
Yes.
on our idle cash.
Mhm.
And so when last year, this finance committee, you and Robert started noticing, wait, we get more interest, and that's more or less found funds.
I think with our we have about $3 million in T-bills, and I think that equates to 150,000 a year.
Stay at the rate they're at.
Yes.
It's looking closer to 180,000 a
Okay,
year.
well, there
But
you
it's,
go.
yeah, if it holds up.
In addition, if I understood the explanation, we're paying off money that we're paying 7.75% on.
Yep.
The money that we're getting 5.5%. So effectively, we're gaining the benefit of receiving 7.75%.
Right, right.
Exactly.
So
Okay. Okay, good.
that works out very well. You're
So
welcome.
your finance committee is burning the midnight oil.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until now that this made sense, because we didn't have any extra.
Yeah.
No.
Right, right. Very good, excellent, excellent job there, thank you. Okay, let's see, agenda J, tax roll charges, I almost said changes, charges. Consideration of resolution 2407, electing to have charges for services provided with the district during fiscal year 2024 through 2025, collected on the Riverside County tax roll. Jen,
I'll let Teresa
okay?
explain this one, this actual
Tax roll.
charges.
Oh, yeah.
How it works a bit.
So, right about this time, it's tax roll season. So, I work with the county to, get all the charges put on the tax rolls for all of our properties. So it's a process of getting data from the county, going through it, and then submitting it to the county, then they accept it. And that's how it goes on your lovely property tax bills. So we're in the process of doing that right now. And this is the resolution and, they have to be, the deadline for that is August 10th this year. So it takes a couple months back and forth working with the county to get them on the tax rolls. So that's what we're doing.
So the motion, the original resolution would be, introduce resolution 2407 by title and then for the at the resolution. So,
To approve.
Yes, I'm not motion.
Oh, she beat her. Second.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor, Bowman,
Aye.
Carol.
Aye.
Rawson,
Aye.
Roberts, unanimously approved.
And Teresa, you have my sympathies for having to deal with the county for those.
It's not a fun.
No, I cannot imagine.
We haven't seen you.
I can only imagine.
Thank you. Excuse me. Agenda K, CEQA notice, consideration of a notice of exemption for the California Environmental Quality Act requirements in setting benefit charges for fiscal year 2024 through 2025 budget revenue, and I understand, Mr. Simmons, you're gonna tell me this.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, well, CEQA or CEQA stands for the California Environmental Quality Act, and technically, or potentially, all discretionary actions the board takes is subject to being reviewed under the Environmental Quality Act. But there are certain actions that the board takes that have exemptions, like just the fact of merely adopting a budget doesn't implicate environmental impact. So they allow exemptions for certain actions and adopting a budget is one of them. So that's what this item is about.
so you're just directing staff to file the exemption notice with the
No.
county clerk,
Okay,
that there's no environmental impacts you find
right.
impacts in the budget and
Okay.
setting the fees and charges and taxes.
Okay.
Be a minute, and open second.
any questions or anything? Any
No.
comments or anything of that nature? Okay, motion to approve? Second?
I'll second.
All in favor, Bowman?
Aye.
Carol?
Aye.
Rawson? Roberts, unanimously approved. Heidi, all the hard stuff is done. Okay, let's get into some real important. Okay, agenda L, water diversion project. Jen, you wanted to comment on?
This is a continuing, report from the prior meeting on the water diversion projects. Raj has reported, or we have reported to you that getting a lot of spring water in certain locations. Raj is going to tonight address what we've been doing. Of some of these various areas.
Hi, everyone.
I'm
We are looking at L item, water diversion projects. At State, Cedar Creek Drive, now will be reported, there's one more, which we did for them. Going south of, Castrano. And, if you can, it's back over there, has a second, this is the location. And that's the second street from going south from Capistrano,
Okay.
Code Espresso. And I think it's Camino Roca. And blue, you see that's the location that the shoulder was having spring water. And we were watching it from last 2 years. So a couple of complaints also came from the owner. And this time the owner really called and said, the water is on the road now. What are you doing? So we called water department also, and they washed their hands, it's not theirs. So we did some experiments over there and we tried to fix it. So next slide, please. Okay, this is how it looked. And the hydrant is there. Probably the existing drainage might have been blocked when they did the hydrant. So all the water was accumulating at that location. And it had a existing French drain. All right, next slide, please. So this is what we tried. We excavated about like 18 inches deep with our skid. And you see, if you really look at it, there's a trench right against the road. Next slide, please. After excavating one of the spots, that's where the water started losing out. And there was a lot of water which was backing up and was going up the street also. Now the water is being released. Next slide. We made a path. There's a lake, or I would say there's a drainage. So we connected this water to the drainage up over there. Next slide. This is a French drain basically, which we placed it along the road and on the side of the hydrant, going into the ditch over there, where the water will be collected and gone to the lake, which is on the other side of the green trees, the green shrubs you see over there. Next slide, please. This is French drain being worked on. 3/4 inch rock is replaced. Then this bottom slide you will see that after placing 3/4 inch rock, we placed filter fabric, and we are ready to backfill now. Next slide. This is backfilling operation going on. Next slide. On the top, you will see that the water which was on the side of the road is down there now, on the top floor. And the bottom floor, all the water is gone. So basically, the owner, he helped us dig the ditch behind the tree over there. Because we didn't have any equipment which will dig trenches. Next slide, please. This is how it looks now. No water is dry. Next slide. Okay, this is regarding Cedar Creek. I spoke last time also about it, that we are waiting for culvert 105 to be taken care of first. So if in case the water is taken care of at that point, the leak might stop. So we still have a waiting period. So once that pipe is done, the lining is done, we will see what happens. Okay, next slide. This is the location which everybody knows about it. At the last down maybe around 200 feet from there, where the spot was there, which was leaking. Next slide. These are the spots basically where the water is oozing out from the stream on both lanes.
Next slide, please. This is the inside of the pipe, how it looks at this moment. You see the pipe is, once it's lined, still the water is down there. The level of the water is low, pipe is high. So we are doing something to raise this water high, so the water can get into our pipe. So still the work is being done. Okay, next slide, please. These are the logs. Basically, we shot the grades for the profile of the road and with respect to the where the spring water is coming from inside the pipe. You will see in the next slide, the graph is made. Next slide, please. Basically, the red line shows the profile of the road, the Cynthia Creek. And you see 105, P105 around, there's a pipe where in the center it is open and spring water is oozing up. That level. And where you see the first black barrier, that's where it is leaking, where the patch is. Very first leak is over there. So it's an assumption that that water might be leaking or coming down from there, from the pipe onto the road. It's just an assumption. It could be wrong also, because we are just experimenting. And the water might be coming from the hillside also. We are not right now. So once that pipe is fixed, we will see what happens. So next slide, please. Okay, right. This item is basically item number M. Culvert rehabilitation projects. Okay, so basically, this is our PO work. And we are doing lining for primary roads for 4085. These are the locations where they are. Next slide. This is in continuation of lining work. This is P7275, which is on Carancho. On the top, you see what the condition is. The bottom, everything is cleared out. Second slide. This is where the cleaning is taking place. You see it? Right. Second slide, please. This is a pipe on Cynthia Creek, where still more work is to be done for cleaning up. It's not cleaned up. In the next slide, you will see what they're doing. Next slide, please. This is a pressure wash. The guy inside is washing all the dirt. Next slide, please. This is one of the culverts on Walter Grande and Carancho. In the first picture, you see how it is already almost clogged. In the second, it is all cleaned out. In the third is the downstream, how it looks at this moment. Next slide, please. This is the outlet of that pipe, which is totally blocked, almost only 1/3 is left. And the second slide is all cleaned out. And the third slide shows you how it is looking right now. Okay, it is not lined, it's just cleaned up. Next slide. Thank you very much.
How long does it take the, for example, the last culvert? That looked pretty clogged. I mean,
Yeah.
almost all the way up. How long does it take to clean,
Just
just clean it out?
It took 3 days for them.
Okay, easily, yeah.
So one day they couldn't figure it out because the borders were there. How to take the borders up. So
Amazing.
they had to struggle there to pull it out, so. And on that, especially on that culvert, there's a lot of sand, sort, which is right on top of the. Right.
So what do
It's on dripping.
So how long did you think, or how long was that going on, do you think you estimated?
This is basically last month was 2 months because contractor didn't work for 14 days. He was on vacation. And then this is the first, basically is a learning curve. And he's ordering material, so there's a delay in material also. And sometimes he broke down his machines also.
Sure.
So, you know, they all are learning. the contractor is going to, okay, how we stay. So in the second phase, I think I'll do the second, year, I think it will be faster.
Sure.
How long does it take for those culverts to fill up like that? I mean, many years
It all depends
on the rain.
on the rain and how much it's containing sand with it. And how much the flow is slow and still
They don't
containing
feel
sand,
that.
it will set, no,
We don't have any indication that they've ever been cleaned before.
no, no. It was first time
Yeah, it doesn't look like it.
Pretty much the length of the. Has been.
Yes, yeah, that's.
Yeah.
I think once we clean it up, you will have enough years.
It's great.
Yeah.
I think
Well, yeah, you have your whole system in
Yeah,
place in terms of
yeah.
periodically
it will be done.
checking it.
I definitely-
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Sandia Creek, when you were, I think you jackhammered along the road, not across the road. It was that because of redirecting the water and
Yeah.
then cross it on Sandia Creek
And
about 3-4 weeks ago. You were digging the east side of the road.
digging or
The asphalt.
Side of that, yeah. Jackhammer.
Yeah, we were,
Side of the song.
yeah.
yeah, okay,
It was along the road.
yeah, that's part of the what we are waiting on.
Yeah, that's the project.
That's where the surface water is losing it.
Then you redirected to different pipes.
Yeah, yeah. It's the whole thing. We have reached that.
Still under study.
Yeah.
Don't sit down.
Oh, you go.
Oh, I'm not-
Yeah.
Relax too.
No, he did end.
Oh, you did both?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He did not.
No, no, I told you. What about that also?
He's coming back on this. Just gonna say, anything else you wanted to add?
We just had it first.
Oh, we're good.
Yes, so it's like, it's like, yeah. On the water.
Very nicely.
And then so it relieves some of the water, so then you can extract some of it out.
Yeah.
Oh, you did, okay. no,
Yeah, I know.
We all got it right.
Oh, you know, I don't know.
Okay, well, then we're gonna move on to, N, road maintenance, the field of crew department. There.
Hello, everybody. We're all doing all right. But yeah, we had a tree go down after the last time we saw you guys. This one, Jessica called me at like 8-9 o'clock at night. So this one was at nighttime on Saturday too. So that was awesome. So we got out there, got the tree, we got the tree out of the road, and then next slide. We ended up coming back and then cleaning it up, make it look a lot better. Obviously, Saturday, 10 o'clock at night, we're gonna clear the lanes and we're gonna go home. So
Right.
we came back, obviously, we cleaned these big logs off the white lines, and now we exposed it the best that we could, so. And then, so now it's a lot nicer. Next slide. 8 days later, we get another one. This one was on a Sunday. It was over on a Cameron after you get through Duluth Road. So same thing, we cleared both the lanes, but it was nice. The homeowner actually came back and then he actually helped clear up some of these branches and put them into a pile for us. So next slide. So we ended up coming back and then these both sides of the shoulder were piled high with branches. So and he was gonna rent a chipper so he could do it himself with him and one of his employees, and we're like, we're not gonna let you do that. So we came back and brought our chipper, we cleaned it up for him, so he was very happy about that. And next slide. Yeah, we're still mowing, taking care of the weeds. Me and Jim kind of met and we're kind of putting a little bit of crunch, or not crunch time, a deadline on the mowing. We're starting up some projects, it looks like here soon. So this last month we'll be mowing and then get as much of it done as we can, and then before we start these projects. But it's over here on Tortuga, the end of Rancho off of Del Mar. But as you can see over on the left, it's super overgrown. On the right, we cleaned it up. You can see all the hydrants and all the nice utilities on the side of the road there, so that's nice. Next slide. This is over on just at Del Mar. This whole stretch of road was obviously really bad and overgrown. I mean, some of it you couldn't see the white lines, so obviously picture's not as bad, but this whole road was super overgrown. People were swerving in the other lane, so you can see that's what it all looks like now, cleaned up. is over on Tally Garden off of, the Via Vaquero side. We did cause it connects from Carancho too, so we started at the backside of Carancho. And we did all the way back until it wraps around to Via Vaquero, so. Same thing, getting off the white lines, clearing up the lines, so you guys can see them, it's a lot safer for travel, things of that nature. Excited. But yeah, so like I said, next month, we're gonna be, really cracking down on the mowing, and then, after that, slow start reviews of culvert projects, but, next month I'll have the picture of map of, what we actually completed.
Okay.
Cause at the time when we made our presentation, we didn't have too many roads done, now we have quite a bit done, so I'll have either a picture of it, or we'll have a physical copy of it, or we'll have something to show for how much more we got done in just 3 months, so.
You said before that after you mow, then you go back and spray. Are you still
Right.
planning on doing that?
So we're on a little bit of a time crunch right now, so there's some roads we're skipping the spraying. But yeah, but that's the plan, is to go back and to spray some of them, yeah, of course, but right now we're just trying to get them mowed, because like we started so late this year, obviously that wasn't the plan, but we had some changes to maintenance this year, you guys obviously already know that, so. But yeah, next year we'll definitely get an earlier start on it, and it'll look a lot better, but I feel like we did pretty good amount of mowing for the 2.5 months that we did it, so. But yeah,
Right.
any questions, comments, concerns?
Okay, very good. Thank you very much. Well, that's. And okay, let's see, moving on to agenda item O, this is the committee reports. Engineering Committee, Mr. Bowman.
Okay, we met last Tuesday, I think it was June the 11th. And, spent significant amount of time reviewing exactly what you just saw. So I'm not gonna repeat it.
Okay, very good.
Gina, you have any comments in addition to that?
No, I do not. I agree. Well,
Okay, okay, thank you very much. Finance, Paula.
Right, well, as I had mentioned, we now have 6 T-bills. We received our final benefit fee a couple weeks ago, and 500,000 of it went into our 6th T-bill, so that's a big help.
What's your current rate on the,
The current T-bill is at,
5.2.
yeah, it's a 5.2 something. The lowest is 5 point, I think the lowest is 5.06 or something like that. Yeah, 5.069%. That's the lowest. And that one will be coming, they're 6-month T-bills. So that particular one is coming up due, I think, July 11th. So that'll be rolled over. So that's the goal of keeping this interest.
And
is it, likely that there might be, reductions in the rates that would make it beneficial for us to go for longer?
Really, that's something that when that happens, we'll have to consider. And also, since they come mature at certain times, if we need to pull one, we want to. Yeah.
in fact, in September, we'll be rolling our very first T-bill over for the 3rd time.
Right.
So they're,
So
we
just-
roll them twice a year. But yeah, we kind of try to keep an eye on that, but,
Mhm.
and also to make sure LAIF isn't higher
Right.
than.
And
Change.
rates, I think, is now at 4.32%. So that has come up a lot since in the last few years.
I remember about 7 years ago, it was 0.25%.
Yes. Yeah.
For the longest time.
Yeah,
So.
that was a
So
nice.
that's good.
Yeah.
And also we mentioned that will cover the UAL that is in the budget, but also isn't it true that this building will be paid for in a couple of years?
Yeah.
So we won't have the mortgage payment. So
That's $100 a year, right?
Yeah.
Huh? Great,
Yeah, so,
great.
you know, we've been doing this budget and I hit myself like the other night, cause all this negative, cause you can't kid yourself, so you gotta always look at it as, you know, on the darker side, but so that's a good one to point out, and the UAL in 10 years,
Yes.
that's gonna be at least 100, it won't be 10 years, it'll be about
No.
5 is what
Yeah.
I'm projecting. And then you've got another 150,000 a year, you know, that
Right.
you can expend however. And then, this building, just in 2 years, there's another 105 or something, 8,000.
Right.
That then could go into road operations or whatever, so, anyway, when you're budgeting, you look at the downside. But now that it's all passed.
We can look at the upside now. And also, just to state, Robert wanted me to mention, that the resolution, 2406 can be repealed if it comes to a point that we cannot afford to do this. So it's not in stone, so to speak. And also, the audit is on schedule this year. In fact, it'll be about 2 months earlier. And the first field visit by our NIPRO and NIPRO will be, you said, the second week in July. So we're on time for that.
This will be the first year because we're usually so bogged down.
Right.
It's not until like September that we can't get to it, but
Right.
got a lot of more help.
Yes.
Jessica and Isabel, so it's going well.
So you're doing audit every year.
Every,
Yes.
every
Oh.
usually takes from the time you start it to you folks see it about 6 months.
Oh.
So it's really.
Pretty
hard.
in-depth. Yeah.
And that goes to the state of California, because we're all creatures of the state,
Yeah.
right? County, city, district. And what is it? February or something like that?
February's the deadline.
We have to have it in by the end of February. If not, technically, they can fine us.
And
So
I'm sure they will.
that.
I'm sure they would.
Yeah, it will shut us down, I guess. But so anyway, it's pretty serious stuff. You know, they want
Yeah.
accountability of all the governments. of
Yeah.
What they've been doing this year.
Yeah, they look, you wouldn't believe the amount of detail that they look at, so it's a lot, so. That, we're on a roll
You're
here,
on a roll.
doing good.
Thank you.
Really, really, I mean, those numbers, the possibility of those numbers the next couple of years,
Mhm.
that's
Very helpful.
fantastic.
It is.
It is. Well done. Well, yeah, well done. Thank you. Thank you, Paula.
You're welcome.
Okay, legislative committee report, you heard from Cyrus earlier at the beginning of the meeting. The only thing I wanted to comment on when he was talking about the senator and the meeting, originally we were targeting a date of July the 31st, but as he explained, there seemed to have been some miscommunications there. And so anyhow, so I identified, Jim identified 3 dates in October, and so we're keeping our fingers crossed. We're looking at October 22nd, 23rd, or the 24th. And again, just as a reminder, this Duluth community meeting is going to be co-sponsored, the CSD along with the Duluth Women's Club. And it will be held at the barn, Chris and Todd, their barn, they're off of Sandia Creek. So we're hoping that we're gonna get one of those dates locked in, because otherwise, the rest of the year is holiday time and we're starting all over again for the new year coming around the corner. So really trying to be optimistic. So we'll keep everybody informed, and once we get the dates locked down. And then also identify, Jim and I will sit down and identify who else we want to have in attendance, along with the senator. So otherwise, that's it for the legislative committee. Questions, anybody? No? Okay, very good. Then agenda item P, the general manager's report, Jim?
Now that, my budget, or our budget is complete, and so is everybody else's. The last week of June, most of the district, general managers got their budget put to bed, so that's when they meet. So every last week of June, I go to this conference, and last year was in Lake Tahoe, and that was very nice. This time it's in Anaheim, and I'm not at the Disneyland, so. I guess that means I gotta work the whole time. Anyway, I am though, meeting with, SDRMA, special districts, what's that?
Risk
risk management, so, group, whatever.
So,
They have our workers' comp, they have our health insurance. And we've had some issues with Alliant. And so, I'm going to be meeting with their new CEO. They have a booth at this conference I'm going to. So, they're setting up a specific time for he and I to have coffee together or whatever, to see if we can package all of the business or insurance with them. So, why we ended up with Alliant, because I talked to the new, they have all new officers, a new CEO, CFO, and whoever does, insurance underwriting or whatever. So I talked to the CFO last night for like an hour and a half. And, the board, it's elected board, it's just directors like you guys, you would be on that board, really, because we are members already because of our work on there. But anyway, you don't want to go there. Anyway, the feeling was that the staff had gotten a little bit too comfortable and stale. So they cleaned house and bringing in some people that are trying to raise business and get better rates and stuff like that. So
Okay.
I'm hoping that, we can, get things moving, in that regard, to better bundle up our insurance needs. And, so, that's what I'll be doing then. I'll be going with Jessica and Will Dance, Rex Miller, in July to the ESRI conference. And Jessica thinks this is a nice little junket for her, but I got news for her, because Rex and I are designing a college course for her. And she's gonna get a 4-year degree in 1 week.
Oh, my.
We haven't told her yet. So but basically, I don't know how we thought of it, but they take the all of the convention center of San Diego. It's huge. But, it starts the day one, the motivation session by the owner of Esri and all that. And then after that, it's just class after class after class. And they get progressive in each day, every week. So I don't know, I got this idea. Well, Rex taught me a couple years ago when they invited me to go for free that first year. And I didn't really know what I was doing, and then last year, did a little more of that. And then we got thinking, well, since Jessica is also the link person to the GIS system, we have great opportunity to let her get educated, starting on Monday and going through till Friday. So Rex has put together these classes that he and her are going to attend. That's a little over my head, except the part of the partying and lunch, I'll get it that. But those two, and then the idea is when they finish, he can, after the course, they can go sit in the hall for a few minutes and he can explain anything she doesn't understand, and then the next hour you go to the
Okay,
next one.
okay, got it.
The next.
Yeah.
So anyway, I hope you got your boots all polished.
She just escaped.
Yeah. Well, Teresa, you heard her. If she disappears on it, Jessica. So anyway, we got thinking, because now that there are things that I need to attend, we meet with Esri, and that's gonna be Wednesday, of course, and pick that day. That's where all of our account executives and all that, once a year, we'll get, what do we need, what do they need from us, so anyway, if we could move the meeting back like we did a month ago,
Right,
one week to the 24th.
yes,
My plan was I was just gonna drive back and do the sport. But it may be a little trickier than that, so we should do the 24th of July. I think I've talked to each of you.
Yes.
in
yes.
Calendar, so we're gonna give notice to the public
Okay,
that this meeting will be the 24th of July. One thing to think about, because I haven't really talked to you about it, but I looked it up this afternoon. They changed the law a few years back, and you've all been sworn in on Friday at 12 o'clock noon. I think all five. The last time you've been sworn in, so what they did is they changed the procedure. So the statewide, everybody has the same term of office. Apparently some like cities and stuff were making their term a little longer, doing it a little sooner. So they said, no, everybody takes office at 12 noon, the first Friday.
uh-huh,
So that's every other year, okay? So next year, we'll be meeting on that day.
okay.
And what I'm wondering is, and we can just talk about this, we got 6 months to go. Maybe we should just make that our December meeting every year. And so 1 year, we're doing the swearing in, like say Arto King.
Right,
last
right.
year. And then the other time, because we do have, that's when we do the merit awards
Yes.
and all that. And that way everybody can relax for the rest of the month and not have to do the conflicts with holidays.
Yes.
I think this year it's only a couple days before Christmas or something like the 21st, I think.
Oh, yeah,
That's getting pretty close. So
okay,
anyway, we'll talk about it again,
okay.
but I thought, well, I have all of you. I'm looking at that. So, but not this year, but next year we'll be back to the Friday noon,
Mhm.
the first Friday. This year that falls on the 5th, on the 5th of December. That's my report.
Okay, thank you very much. Last but not least, legal counsel matters, Mr. Simmons.
We just have two short reports. We've been monitoring the winery development in
Yes,
northern San Diego County. And that, on the website shows that the application is still withdrawn, so there's no development, nothing happening there.
okay,
And then the other thing is, and we've been reporting on this, Taxpayer Protection and Government Accountability Act, which is scheduled to be on the November ballot, and the legislature had filed a pre-election challenge with the Supreme Court in California, and they've announced this week that they'll be issuing their opinion tomorrow. So I don't have anything substantive to tell you tonight, but tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock, it's supposed to be out. We'll be issuing a bulletin probably soon after that. So
And our interest is whether or not any tax or assessment is 50% or 2/3.
Two-thirds, right,
So that this will,
right.
potentially, if it passed, they would do away with that
right,
possibility.
if it's on the November ballot and the people vote with the Jarvis Group, they're the ones, the business roundtable, then it'll all be 2/3. But if the legislature and the governor challenge the constitutionality of putting it on the ballot, and they're trying to keep it off our ballot for the no presidential election. So if the Supreme Court knocks out, then the court rulings that stand today, it's 51, it was put up by the taxpayer, and then 2/3 was put up by the government.
Right.
Should we vote yes or no to it?
Sorry?
Should we yes, yes or no? What is
Well,
beneficial to us?
I don't know yet, and this is.
We don't know it's gonna be on.
Yeah, that's what we're waiting till tomorrow to find out.
Right.
We're gonna punt that question.
Okay. I'll turn CNN on tomorrow.
Well, it'll be us, yeah.
Oh, I know it would be. I know.
It'll be news.
Now, late that than turning on any. No, not reading newspaper. Okay, let's see, being no other board business?
I had one comment I'd like to bring up. This, Jim and I had a group of us had a casual conversation and, following the engineering meeting about our ability to communicate with people in the district. What brought it up was, trying to get the word out about the legislature, the meeting with the legislators. I'd like to recommend that we all kind of think towards what we can do in form of a newsletter or something that would give us the ability to communicate, make people aware of what's going on in the district and get their participation in it.
Mhm. Okay. As a matter of fact, I'll just comment real quick because Jim participated in the Duluth Women's Club meeting along with the deputy. And I had told Jim it was interesting because we did the Women's Club with Brandywood Foundation did a joint rummage sale. And so we helped out and it was interesting because there were a number of new individuals participating who were in the community that, you know, came out last year, over the last couple of years. And it was interesting to find out, you know, how many people knew that there was a CSD, but what is a CSD and who is the CSD? And, you know, and also, you know, understanding the role of the deputy here and, you know, what the past or the present right now. So it was interesting, and even in terms of the benefit fees that they pay, you know, a lot, you know, they know they're paying, but they really don't understand it.
No.
You know, and so that's why we thought again to try to encourage these kinds of, you know, meetings at least every, you know, twice a year. So yeah, you're correct. There's a lot of education and so forth.
We just don't have a good mechanism to
Yeah,
get that information out to the
Yeah.
community in
yeah,
general.
Well, I think that through, of course, the different homeowners associations, that, of course, that's one avenue. But people like Debbie and I were not in a homeowners association, so,
For those of us that are, when they get together, it's normally the board and maybe a friend.
right, but I'm saying
Very
that
few people.
maybe you have access, you can get, how can we get emails?
Title,
Oh,
title,
Title.
companies, yeah,
Okay.
that's not hard to do, but we were talking, when we were discussing this, we said that it seems that emails probably wouldn't be as effective as
Flyer.
a letter or something,
Mhm.
maybe twice a year, 3 times a year. And that would be, you know, that would be helpful because people pay attention to that if it says, especially if it has something in it from the CSD or whatever.
and we have a member on board who knows how to do all that.
Well,
There we go,
Yeah.
you're in charge.
yeah, no, I can get you the list, but the title company have that, and as soon as there's an owner change, they give it to you, so that's how you're able to do that, and, it makes it, I think people pay more attention to the email. You know, I really do, so I think it's, you know, and there's things you can put on it, like, you know, in summertime, don't use a metal weed eater or this or that, it'll start a fire, there's a lot, like you said, educational things.
Yeah, yeah. And finding the right opportunities and just to close out. And it's been interesting over the last, you know, 3-4 years now, with the changing of the board and a lot of things that have taken place over the years in terms of what we've been able to do in support of the community, you know, from roadwork repair,
Yeah.
and the solvency of this district and so forth. You know, so before that, when these kinds of things weren't taking place, this place used to be packed because there was a lot that wasn't taking place. And then by nature of people being here, we were able to talk about other things like this important meeting tomorrow about the water
Yeah.
and so forth. So yeah, you're right. So
Sorry, guys.
it's
Very
communicating that or finding out like through the women's club or whatever that well, they know now, you know, not real clear about what is the role of the deputy, what's going on with the CSD. So yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, we need to do that.
So I think it would be a good idea.
Okay, so we'll have more dialogue on that. Anything else?
I'm sorry, what is tomorrow's meeting? Important?
Oh, it's about the supervisors tomorrow.
Oh,
regular
The, Rancho
Water
Water
district.
District, Board of Directors meeting tomorrow,
Yeah.
will, special meeting to approve water rate changes, which are pretty substantial. Got some information I can give you on that.
They send us a note, yeah.
Yeah, they sent it out, yeah. Uh-huh.
Doesn't it?
So there's a meeting tomorrow and so.
Yeah, it's a 8:30 in the morning meeting at the Water District, building on Winchester,
Does it?
8:30 in the morning.
Okay.
Too early.
No,
Let you know the day before.
you want the letters, so then tonight, I better. Okay,
Yeah, people are communicating tonight about.
okay.
Okay, your business at this time. I thank everybody for this, attending this meeting, and it is now adjourned. Thank you.
I have one quick announcement for everybody. Okay, the San Diego County Fair is on. I volunteer at the Gem and Mineral booth Friday night, next two Fridays. Anyone has kids, grandkids, wanna get jewelry, free rocks.
Free rock.
Grab bag, something.
And where is that,
Del Mar.